Since the dawn of mankind, we've had cars and other stuff. We walked places, we drove places, we learned how to fly planes and shit, and now we're gonna move into the future of transportation. Please join us.
So I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick, folks.
We're old friends dissecting one topic at a time. People, technology, media, we've got it all covered.
Each discussion here is a deep dive into our unique perspective. Taboo, forbidden subjects, they're all on the chopping block, baby. We don't pander to popular opinion. We might even get a little bit dirty.
Warning, this podcast may contain mature language and sexual content, and is for infotainment purposes only.
So join us. Have a good time.
Open up your ear holes, because we're going to fondle your follicles.
Hey. Welcome, everybody.
Ooh.
Sorry about that intro. We usually try and keep it professional here, but
You hear my little squeal?
Did hear the squeal. Anyway, we are not stoned.
I haven't been stoning forever.
They say episode 74 is the one that gets you all squeamish and nervous, you know?
Oh, it only
Today
takes
we're gonna
73
talk
more.
about, we're going to talk about transportation in general with a heavy emphasis on cars. Right?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm going to kick it off with our first form of transportation.
Well, I was going to just say I had a correction from the last episode.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I just don't remember what the last episode was.
Oh, do I have to look that up?
No, we should be able to figure it out. We're grown adults. We do podcasts. We care deeply about them.
I feel like we did a serious radiation one. Oh, I do have additives.
Good. Why don't you do yours first? Because I actually forgot it was radiation.
So the one thing about radiation is that you can irradiate stuff. Like they do it for fruit, produce. Oh shit, This is a bad one. Apples. So like they can have irradiated apples. Like in was it Zombieland? I think he goes into a grocery store and they're like apples are still whole. They're still alive.
Why? No. Because they're irradiated?
Because they're irradiated, because they destroyed all of the germs and stuff that were growing on them or inside them, so they last a lot longer. They do it also for like GMOs. That's how they modify it. So they just keep hitting them with like little bits of radiation to change their DNA, so that they modify it to have no seeds or to be juicier or to make it plump and voluptuous.
Mine was a correction. I said there wasn't a Die Hard movie that had a lot to do with radiation, but it's the one everyone forgets. Not Live Free or Die Hard, the one Die Hard 4 it may have been called, where he goes back to find his son who's mysteriously Russian.
Die Harder?
Yeah, maybe. And they go and it's really boring, and they go into like a mine where there's plutonium and stuff, and there's radiation off the charts, and they have to wear those radiation suits and everything. So I said there wasn't a Die Hard that had to do with radiation, but guess what, folks? There was. Correction there. Okay. So moving on.
Yeah.
Cars. What's like the first car, would you say?
Your feet are the first form of
car
locomotion.
Of car.
Yeah.
The first car ever. Human feet, folks. You heard it here first.
And the tidbit that I would like to insert right here is that a marathon, it comes from some guy running from Marathon, Greece to Athens, which was 26 miles.
Deliver a message.
Yeah, that the war's been won. There's been victory. Took him like a couple hours. Who knows?
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, this is
like the best runner at the time.
490 BC, they say.
So, roughly, give or take. I don't know what month it was. Do you?
I would say it's probably
summer, spring.
Yeah,
spring is
spring. I feel that's when most wars end. Springtime.
Though you're also keep in mind, runner's body. Usually you do not as much running in the winter, so you kind of get your fat on a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think summer you're running, and then it's comfortable again in the fall. So this could have been a fall run.
Yeah. Do you ever see that? There was a story about a guy that swam the English Channel, and he was fat when he started and skinny when he ended. He lost like several pounds when he was swimming. He burned that much.
Sound like a real story.
There's a film crew, and probably Bear Grylls was involved. Who knows? But
okay. He was bloated.
No, he wasn't. No, it wasn't him.
Okay. He was bloated beforehand, and then he was just emaciated and like wasted away.
Oh, it just makes me think that like the amount of energy you use running. Like if I were to run all day back and forth to work, which would take me probably 3 hours each way, and I'd quit my job, I would lose so much weight.
Yeah. I mean, because during the run, you're also not gaining any calories.
Yeah, but it makes me think like if you were being like if you could run and eat and drink and all that stuff and just act like keep running, how far could you go? I wonder, when would you actually physically break down if your body was replenishing itself completely? We'll have to come back to this one.
No, you clearly are not a runner, because I don't stop because I'm out of nutrients. I stop because my knees hurt or my ankles hurt or my feet hurt or my hip hurts or something. And I'm just like out of breath. I'm just like, this is stupid.
I'm lucky we have automobiles because I don't think I've ever run in my life. Marathons? Have you done marathons before?
Nah, the most I ever ran was a 10-mile jobber.
I don't think I've ever done like a 5 mile or a 3 mile.
250% more than what I did. You never did a 3 mile, like a 5K? 3.1 miles?
No, I don't think I ever cared. No. I'll just sit over here.
Heart.
Yeah.
Beating in that chest.
Yeah. Somebody's had like triple heart surgery and they have no legs and they're still crawling, and I'm just like, not
gonna do it.
Here's, take my charity. Here it is, $100.
So we had legs, feet.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, by the way, they're supine, may I say?
So fine?
Glorious. No, supine. That's an adjective. You're gonna have to look that one up, kids. But they're glorious, and they are one of the most naturally gifted. Did you know we can outrun any animal? I think.
You know, I heard that also. We can outrun a horse
we can
or
run
something.
For a longer distance. We would never beat them in a race.
Yeah.
These things. But as far as distance is concerned, we keep it going.
Tracking them down.
It's almost like the human being is the most adaptable species ever, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we probably got laughed at by all the other animals out there until we could chase them down forever. And then they're like, oh shit.
Well, someone made a funny joke, and of course it's tongue-in-cheek, but it's the human is the most powerful, top of the food chain, ruining the earth until one of them falls in the zoo enclosure. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But still,
yeah.
Our large numbers and our technological advancements, we are number one. But please don't let me fall into an orangutan exhibit or a cheetah exhibit. I will squeal like an animal and run around in circles. So what did they come up with next? Like, obviously the next step after feet is Segway.
Do this really still exist? Do people use those?
Yeah. You know the guy who invented the Segway, right?
Mr. Segway, yeah.
Yes, John C. Segway. Do you know what happened to him?
He fell off a cliff riding a Segway and died.
Yes, he did. He died doing what he loved, inventing the Segway, looking really cool on a Segway. But what is the next mode? I mean, we obviously ride horses, but that doesn't count. You're riding an animal. Is there like a mode of transportation before car? Skateboard?
I don't know. I think it was bikes. I think the bicycles were next because they're unpowered. Yeah,
I like that.
And then
ride a bike far?
Oh yeah, I like riding bikes.
Oh, okay, cool.
I ride them in circles because they're so much fun to ride. Round and around we go. So first car. You want to get the first car?
Yeah, we mentioned this when we talked about production, right? Was it the Model T, or that wasn't the first car?
Model T was the most
produced car.
First car to be produced in multiple countries. Say Carl Benz, like Mercedes and Benz. And Benz. It was 1885. First practical automobile.
What did it do?
I don't know.
I was just really curious. Like, I wondered, did you stick gasoline in the end, and then like it would go into it, and then it would be a combustible engine? You turn it on, and it just.
I got distracted because they started talking about was it uncracked oil or something like that? I forget the word, but it was like they didn't refine gasoline enough to make it so that you could have complex engines, and you also had no suspension. Like, I'm gonna lean on the Model T here. Is that there were like two models? There was like a this is bullshit, but there's cruiser model, which I don't know what it was actually named, but it was like a 2-seater, and then there was also like a 4-seater.
Hell yeah, for the family.
For the family, yeah.
No seatbelts, but who cares?
Yeah, seatbelts
only took like another car. I mean, they didn't have other cars.
So. No, only took 60 years to add seatbelts.
Really? I guess when the number of cars started increasing that much, car accidents, all that. So cars were pretty important. Were they like the first big step for us, and probably still to this day one of our bigger technological advances, right?
I guess so. I mean,
and it made the world closer too. Everyone, like, check this. Like,
you can get farther away from everybody.
Well, live farther away and still commune to the same areas. So you can still commune to your grocery store, your market, your schools for the kids, your churches, your whatever. I mean, but you don't have to live within walking distance. So that's cool.
Yeah, the whole purpose is that you could actually move faster than your enemy during wars. If you could outmaneuver them.
I don't think so.
I think, well, most of this becomes very prominent around the 1920s. And it becomes very serious.
I understand technology spurs it on, but I feel like it's born out of need for a community. And then war realizes they could use it. They're like, oh, we could use that. We could use that. Oh, we could use that. To kill people.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, something's distracting me on the left side here. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like the birth. I wouldn't say we're quite there yet. Birth of suburbs and like people sprawling out, because before the rural areas were all farmland. It just maybe be using a car to.
The show constantly referenced in 30 Rock or the movie. The rural juror.
Rural juror.
They're always talking about it, and I guess Jenna is involved in it, and they're like, "Yeah, they really should have rethought that name." The rural.
That's a good tongue twister. It took us 74 episodes to come up with that one. Rural juror.
And we didn't even come up with it, so shout out 30 Rock. They probably listen to the podcast. Tina Fey actually grew up right outside of my front door, within 80 miles. You just walk right out of that door, and she's somewhere.
You can drive to her. It only takes how many gallons? 4 gallons of gas if you're in a shitty car.
We were gonna get into that. Did you know I wrote down the cars with the best gas mileage and the top sellers in the United States last year?
Oh, you did.
Yeah, do you want to jump there?
Are you hybrids? Yeah, whatever. We can skip around. You including a hybrid?
Yeah, just hybrids. Anything with gas. So, the Prius Prime was number one.
The Prime.
133 miles per gallon. That's not bad.
Aerodynamics on that puppy. You just slap the hood. You could fit multiple Priuses in that Prius. Just strap them on the back. Yeah. No one drives a Prius and feels proud. I never met anybody that looked proud.
Well, by comparison, do you know how many miles per gallon I get on average? Because I keep a running tally in the computer, or whatever it's called.
On the computer?
No,
the dash.
Yes, in the dash. I reset it every month or so.
Oh yeah? What's your tally?
It used to be 16. Now it's closer to 18 and a half.
Wow. That's what my Volvo did. Volvo 850 from 1994 or 6, both of them about the same. Yeah, that was awful. That cost a lot of money to drive, especially during the gas price surges of the 2000 somethings. Was it 2009ish?
Yeah, probably. We were on college time.
Which caused me to buy my other car, which is very good with gas mileage, 28 normally, but you can get up to 31, 32.
Right. Start cruising that bad boy.
Okay. Yeah. Start letting it do the cruise control. Just let it out on the open road and just cruise.
You can tell cruise control guys from non-cruise control guys. Not on cruise control.
frees up your hands.
Always in control.
For whatever you want to do.
Before we get into
tapping
all
on the
that,
brake,
we're gonna start talking about individual cars and how they have flavor and character and
soul, heart, oomph, chutzpah.
We're gonna get into there. And I'm not just talking about the Cars series by Pixar,
which I see too much of.
I know. We're gonna get into that too, probably. Cars allowed us to do deliveries. Delivery person by vehicle is probably the most important job in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how people get their food, how they get their mail, it's how they get their
Amazon packages.
How they get their When you think about it, they're the most underrated employment opportunity in the United States.
Thinking like, when did milkmen start? Milkmen would have been
1940s. I don't know. I'm making this up.
I assume it'd be like the farmer bringing milk to people.
Well, is that a milkman though? I mean, I know what you're talking about. Milkman is almost like an entity that exists. It's like the corporate version of a farmer. Haha, I have a whole block, farmer. I have a route. I'm going to Miss Carruthers' house later and dropping off the milk.
The earliest pictures I have are from 1903, but that doesn't mean it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, some guy, horse and buggy, bringing you milk.
They can bring you ice too, right? For your ice box.
Yeah, because you have a hole in your basement that holds ice. Sure.
Keep your shit cold.
Yeah.
That's wild. So literally the car helped us move all our goods, all our people, all our ideas.
We had no form of communication other than what? The telephone wasn't invented yet. It was what? By Morse code? You knew Morse code?
Yeah. When's Graham Bell on the telephone? I'm curious.
Telephone invented.
That is wild.
I like how I got the keyboard to be silent when I type, but I said it. Spoke it out loud.
Telephone.
Oh no, it was I heard about this guy. Antonio Lute. Where did you go, Antonio? Hold on. Coochy. Mucci, I don't know how to name it. Telefono. 1871. No, Americans steal everything. An early voice communicating device was invented in 1854 by Antonio Meucci. And then he filed a patent and became kind of popular. So we might have had telephones by that point. But maybe only the super rich.
This guy's a clown, Antonio.
So maybe information didn't pass that.
Either way, information could move quicker because just in general, there are certain things you can only carry physically. Like the information of, I had a son, I'm bringing him somewhere. Do you think people brought their babies places? I guess so.
AT&T was in 1885. So you think they went for a drive? I feel like this is like the airplanes of the 450s maybe.
Okay.
Where they're like, you fly in the air for pleasure. You're enjoying yourself. You're luxurious. You're experiencing the finest. I feel like in the 1910s, 1920s, in the swinging 20s, you jump in your car and everyone's having a great time.
Get this. What's crazy is we're just saying it like people in the 1920s, but if we go back in time, we look at it for real. These people were loaded.
Definitely.
And I don't mean money-wise.
That also.
These people were like cranked out of their mind. They're probably doing their doctor's version of cocaine. They're probably drunk from noon. They have a good amount of money, and they're on these roads where there aren't rules or speed traps or other cars. You just get loaded and laugh with your friends and get in a car and drive around. How fun would that be? And laugh because you're driving faster than a horse can go. Like, that's hilarious.
You're passing all the horse and buggies, and you're really loud.
I feel like you probably don't even see them. I mean, it's not like traffic's a thing back then.
No.
In the early days, right?
Yeah.
You're just friggin' flying around going nuts, like just doing it because you can do it. Like, that's kind of cool.
I feel like you're probably covered in women too. Like you can't keep all the women inside the car. And they're just giggling and laughing.
But they totally are here to check this thing, and it's a luxury item, and you're partying pretty hard. So
I mean, in college that was the thing though. Like you only wanted one designated driver, but you had 20 friends. How many layers could you fit in your car? I mean, I know you can go 3 or 4 layers deep, and you could probably fit about
3. You can't go 4 layers deep.
I mean, you have people sitting in the back. You probably have 4 or 5 in the back if they're tinier people. Sorry.
All right, so here's where no, this is cool.
Feet, knees,
so this is where
shoulders.
I want to go with
4.
I don't think you can go 4, dude.
It's a mess of flesh, and I would love to dive into that flesh any day.
So what I wanted to get into was I have a whole page of everyone's first car and everyone's cars.
Really? All those?
Yeah, people.
Did you make you made the decision to buy your car? I was given my car because it was a hand-me-down.
That's cool, dude. Listen, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I had to buy my car, but it was from the people who across the street who were a little wealthier, and they had their son died of cancer, I believe, actually.
Oh.
So I think it may have been either one of his cars. It wasn't like his car at the time. It's like it's a haunted car, but one of his cars, and it was a '92 teal Firebird.
I remember this. Yeah. Did that help with picking up any women at the time?
Not at all. I just loved it. In fact, I bought it with money. It cost me $3,500 or $3,000. I forget which, but
worth it.
I bought it with cash that I had saved up for like Eucharist and Holy Communions and all that. Like my parents let me get into that moolah, that cha-ching ching.
Wait, what were you?
From, like, communions
you were sweet altar boy? Altar boy? Was that what you were talking about?
No, I had a Holy Communion. Like you invite all your relatives over. They give you like a check for $150. Like everybody does. In fact, I had baptism checks. I had CDs or whatever they're called.
I don't remember ever getting money for that. I must have spent that money immediately.
You probably spent it on a Nintendo 64 and a Wii and a...
Maybe.
But anyway, I bought the '92 Firebird. Now this is probably like '92, so it's probably... No, good lord, no, it's...
92?
What year did we drive? I can't do math.
2001?
Okay, that makes more sense.
It's like you're 7 years old.
Right.
Working in the steam mills, pumping out that coal.
Boy, I would drive it into high school, park wherever the hell I want, whatever. Like, this is man. And the thing is, the most important thing I could do was, at the time, I bought my own CD player.
Oh yeah, when you could, put it in that slot.
I had to figure out. Well, I had to do the slot myself.
Because Best Buy would have screwed up. I heard so many people say they don't. They just destroy your car. Yeah.
Well, think about it. Best Buy doesn't give a shit.
I mean, who you have? You're asking your friend essentially to put it in there.
Yeah.
But a friend that doesn't care about you.
Connected the wires and stuff, and at first it didn't work. But I think we just missed a wire, so we opened it back up and was like, put it back in. Boom. I still can tell you what it looks like with the graphics, the little blue lights and all that.
Little
I know
flash, little pulse.
Attack. My favorite thing was attack.
Go left and
right.
right.
So all these things had ATT, and it was called attack, and you could press it, and it would drop your volume by like 90%. So it was like a almost mute button, but not quite. And I was like, if you get a phone call, but I don't think cell phones were popular. So what was attack for? Hey, someone in the back said something important. Hit the attack button. Yeah. Would you say, Jimmy? Yeah. Attack off. And then you're back to blaring the music. But I had T-tops, which not a lot of people even know what they are.
I have no idea what that is, no.
See that? So T-tops were like, it's like a semi-roof, but it's made of it's a window that's detachable. So I would throw a few bars, take them off, and you would have to remove them from the roof and put them in the back. What that left was your car, the front of the car, the windshield, and it would stop, and it would be like an open, except that there was a strip of the car still that would run like this, and then you get to the back panel.
Why didn't we ever drive around like that?
I did.
I don't remember that.
Maybe you were too much of a Warminster area kid. You know what I'm saying?
Farther away than that.
Mm-hmm.
Farther away.
I know. I'm giving an idea. You're a Warminster area kid.
Huh. I might have missed out too. I don't know what I did all of high school. I don't recall.
See, that's what's funny. So I remember everyone's cars, like at the time.
So you know mine.
I do, but I don't know the year.
Hmm.
But I didn't want to get into it.
Because I had two.
Right. Well, I was talking about the one before you glid.
Same car, different.
Was it the exact same car?
It's the same model, yeah. Different years.
You guys had a thing for it? I don't know.
I was told to get that car, so that was the one I got financial assistance on after I wrecked the first one.
Well, that happens. But everyone gets their first car like at 16, 17, 18, and that becomes your symbol of freedom. You're like your peace. Your car becomes so important because it's the first time you can leave your house without your parents.
Yeah, you can get away from them. You can turn your music way up. And then
you turn it the hell way up.
Speed on the roads where you can see there are no cops.
Yeah. Yep.
You can also smoke it out. You can get girls in there that'll have fun. They'll giggle in the back seat.
Haha. Listen. So you're touching all the important parts. So like if you ask anyone, what's your first car? Everyone has an answer. Everyone knows. A car is a super important thing. We're downplaying it, but like I asked my dad years ago, and I still remember his was a 70 Buick Skylark Green.
Wow.
A 70 Buick Skylark Green, I guess. My mom was a Toyota Celica. I don't remember the year of hers. So then I was thinking, like, mine was a 92 Firebird. I asked my current girlfriend. Hers was a 90 Toyota Celica. You ever remembers the year, the color, the model? Mm-hmm. So the craziest, like, a buddy of mine who listens to the podcast in my band, Ryan, he had like an 01-ish, 00-ish, I can't remember what year exactly, Nissan Sentra. He was leaving a girl's house that he had a crush on, that I later dated for 3 months.
Oh.
Anyway, he was leaving her house, and there's this crazy bend in the road.
Oh, yes.
He went off-road, and wrapped his car like around that tree, and like he's lucky he was fine, but the car was total. And like I still remember that car, and like once everyone had cars, you would meet somewhere and everyone would get in one car, and it was before drinking was real popular. So you'd all drive around in a car. I happen to remember our mutual friend Mike D. His was he had a silver stuff.
Nissan?
He had the Nissan.
Maxima, I think?
Yeah. You know, he still had that up till like a few years ago? Like a year ago, maybe even?
Does not surprise me.
He was just trying to sell it and get a new car, but like, it was probably like a 98 Nissan, right? Something like that.
What did he...
Something like that.
Don't know. I haven't seen him in years. Did he get something? No. Did he get the same thing?
He got... I forget what he got, actually. It's weird. But, so my ex-girlfriend, she had an 88 Ford Taurus, right? Mm-hmm. All the upholstery was made like carpet. So it was like a carpet.
Ooh.
Which is kind of sexy, but kind of like...
gross. Also at the same time?
No, like whatever. It was awesome. So this is right before she started dating me. She was dating someone who looked like Han from The Sandlot. And they were messing around, and he grabbed her keys while she was driving. She was doing like 60 on the highway, and she grabbed the keys, pulled them right out of the ignition. They came out, and she was still driving, doing 60. And they were like... But I mean, different cars had different foibles like that. I guess it was still stuck in the on position. I don't know if she had to plug them back in to turn it off, but like, that's cool.
So
go ahead.
What were the problems with your car? Like, on my car, it would the sunroof had a little sunroof. It would drip directly on my head.
Right on the driver's seat.
Yeah, I would just be like, oh, okay, it's happening again. And then like the visor would drop, it'd fall down, and like it didn't clip in.
Oh,
standard.
That happens in my 2015 vehicle.
Yeah. What else? What else is there?
Check this one.
Cigarette lighter.
Good example.
Didn't work.
Why did you care? How funny is it that we had cigarette lighters in all our cars?
That we still do.
We'd push it in. Who the hell still has? Oh, we still have them for electrical.
But we don't call them cigarette lighters anymore.
Right. How fun. That's wild when you think about it.
Yeah, I don't even know are they legal. I don't even know that I have the thing that makes it a cigarette lighter.
Ooh, how about this? Did you have ashtrays in your car?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? Think about it.
I saw something about like a car had like a little what do you call it? Like a little bar in it. Like you'd pop open the glove compartment and there'd be like 2 drinks and like a scotch.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, you can't do that anymore. But that's badass. No. That's cool. The what I was thinking of is that so I bought my car. I saved all that money, which really I didn't even save because it was from my youth.
Yeah.
Kind of
give it to you.
I didn't think much of it. Right. Once I did, my parents made sure for months and months that I had to pay my own insurance. I don't know if I had to pay all of it. They may have just charged me like $100 every couple months or something like that. They did something. I don't think I paid the full price, but they made sure I knew insurance was real. And I was like, this is a bummer. And then I found out gas costs money, and that's a bummer. And then like 6 months in, I still remember my O2 sensor went. I didn't even know what an
I had
O2
the same thing.
was.
Yeah.
And it cost me like $350, and at the time, at my age, I was like, "That's impossible to pay."
Yeah.
they were like, "We'll pay for it. You have to pay it back."
You got to have a frame of reference, though. Like when I was working 2 jobs,
17, 18.
Yeah, I was making $50 a week.
That's crazy.
Yeah, as much as I could work as a high school student, that was the max.
Right.
Maybe I could get 100 if I was like sweating like crazy doing my job and continuously doing it.
Well, no one's gonna do that.
No, it's not worth it.
When there's something else crazy, so everyone remembers everyone else buy their car.
Mm-hmm.
We went to high school with someone who I remember by their Toyota Tercel.
Tercel.
He would only drive the speed limit because that's the way he was raised. His nickname was MWA.
Huh. Yeah.
He would get on 309 and just drive 55. When everyone else from our high school was doing like 70, and they would all pass him, and he would shove up his little against the window and just continue to do 55.
He just flip him the bird as they all drove by him.
The funniest thing I remember is just that Toyota Tercel, the little silver turd. I still remember how it looks. Like, it's wild. Because cars had personality back then, I guess, a little bit more.
I feel like he's not the one. He's not the one who a teacher asked him, "Can you read this?" And he just said, "Yes."
Yeah. Michael, in the back, can you read page 197 for us? And there was this long pause. He went, yeah.
Of course I can.
Of course you can.
Would you?
High school, Can you please read it for us right now?
May I?
Yeah. Yeah. Either way, that's the funniest answer. But he used to he's a very nerdy guy, but shout out to him. He's
ballsy.
But,
some nerds are ballsy though. Like that was
you have to be a little ballsy. Yeah. The funniest thing ever is he was like, "I noticed you pull off 309 because he lived near me before this." And I was like, yeah, I go back. I take Morris Road. I go through some back roads. He's like, "Is that quicker to get home?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think so." And he's like, "Do you have to go above the speed limit?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I do the 8, 10 over, whatever the hell it is." And he was like, "Oh, never mind." And then he like faded away. He didn't want to do it.
He just disappeared. I would always go like the pure back road way. It took me like 40 minutes. Yeah, you can get a vibe for the area, and it's just you feel more alive back there. Roads?
There was a stretch of Allentown Road I actually live on top of now, so it's actually lost its luster. But I would love to drive over because it was real windy, but you could see far. And you could see everything, and it would be from like really high up, and there's always trees you can see in all direction, like just land in all direction. And the curve of the road was real nice. It wasn't super sharp, but it wasn't straight. It had some character to it, and I could be bumping my stereo CD system, whatever, at like 23, where the limit's usually 21. I pump it at 23, just push it a little bit, and listen to my favorite CD, and I'd be driving on that curve, and no one's around, and I'm flying. Dude, there's something magical about it.
Yeah, it's those. So I miss the windy roads because we don't have any of those down here. Mm-hmm. And like a little elevation, you're like maybe going through like a little bit of a valley. It's fall because we don't get fall down here either. You can have the windows down. It's nice, cool air blowing in your face. That's good. A nice stretch of road where no one's on too. Maybe you're like cutting around like a farmhouse or something.
Yeah.
I miss those. Stuff. Those are good days. Good days.
Like I still remember our first job is where I would drive to, Freddie Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember everyone else got their cars and would drive the jobs. And then afterwards, meet and try and go somewhere. I don't even know where we were going or doing because, again, it was right before alcohol. So it was more like we're meeting up with people to meet up with people because we can, I guess. I don't know.
Trying to figure each other out. Trying to figure out yourself.
Just trying to do something because we aren't with our parents. It was fun. And I remember Britt had a 98 Ford Explorer. I still remember this car.
Nice.
And it was green. She would drive us around. And her parents made her sign a contract that said she wouldn't have more than one person in the car at a time. And if she did ever have two people, God forbid, that in this contract, you would turn off the radio because it's too distracting, right? So she signed it because, like, it's her parents. Like, that's
yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Her dad disabled the radio somewhere in, like, the not the chip. I'm saying the word chip. The fuse.
Hey, he pulled the fuse from the radio.
Yeah, the radio.
Wow.
And how hardcore is that? But I still remember her car, and eventually, we all figured out how to reignite it and start it again. Yeah. And like, well, he wasn't gonna stop it again. Like, he was like,
they figured it out. They're smart enough to figure it out.
But we would get in someone's car, and there were like CDs would come out at the time.
Huh.
And I remember, like,
you'd look at that ream of CDs. Oh man,
the black book.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you flip through the pages. If someone was really hardcore anal, they had the book behind the CD. You're like, oh,
alphabetical.
One of these. Yeah, you better put this back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's eyeing you while you're flipping through it.
Yeah. Oh, you touching the CD? Are you sure? Don't touch the back. Don't touch the back.
You get any fingerprints on that? You got to wipe it off. Make sure. I'm watching you.
So my one friend who is big into smoking up and doing all this stuff and whatever have you, we'll call him Brad. I don't know his real name. He owned an '02 Ford Escort with manual transmission. And it was the only friend who had a manual transmission.
Manual.
So he would always rock the car. And it was so cool because the car had more feel. I still remember being in that car and like grooving in it. And he had that CD player put in, and it was so loud. Oh my God. It had the silver wheel, and I remember you would crank it. It didn't have any signifiers on it, just a silver wheel. And we could get it as high as 30 or 31. Like, these numbers meant that. And if your friend was driving and you picked the CD, he would always let the passenger pick out the CD. Like, that's important. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You test the person by which CD they pick out.
Yeah. And I'm putting it in, and everyone's smiling, and we know what's going on. And it's not my car, so I wouldn't set the volume. I'll just put the CD in. And the driver
has volume control.
How much he enjoyed it?
Yeah.
He'd do dangerous levels of volume if you really liked it. And if you saw Brad, we'll call him, switch the volume up to like 34 or something, and we were just driving around like we were going Wawa, pick up some refreshments, and then drive around like friggin' it's like 8, 9 at night, whatever, listening to music at extremely loud volumes in a car that would ebb and flow, and just going for it, man. And if he just reached for that 34, like it was like life changing. Like, you were like, everyone was just chilling in the car like kings. Like,
you found your place.
Yeah, because at that age you don't have a house. You live in your parents' house, but this is the first time you're allowed to have your own zone. This is your zone that moves. It's like a house on wheels a little bit.
Yeah. So you know how to drive manual, right?
So I bought a Mustang right after. So I had the '92 Firebird teal, and I bought from my dad's cousin a '94 Lexus bad boy with 188,000 miles on it.
Ooh, it's risky.
Hold on, I bought it. Wouldn't you know it lasted until 240?
That's a good move. How much you buy it for?
4 years and just beat.
Yeah.
The exact price my totaled Firebird came in at. So here, real quick, did you ever been in accidents, like real accidents, or?
I'm gonna dial it back a little bit. So I have a memory of.
Okay, sorry.
I don't really know how to drive manual, but the manual that I did drive, I drove it around my college campus with one of my girlfriends. She had a manual car. It was 3 a.m. I was not drunk. Jetta. I think it was a Volkswagen Jetta. Yeah. Red.
Okay, that's cool.
And like, she was getting so pissed because I didn't know how to do it, and I still don't know how to drive manual. But I feel by the end of it, I could have gone around another loop, but not very far. It's just good memories. It's one of those like late at night.
What were you doing?
Only
Herky jerkying? Were you herky jerkying?
I was stalling out, like trying to start from like a stoplight.
Yeah,
Like, and she's like rolling her eyes, like laughing at me. I was
you're not doing the clutch right.
Yeah, you're gonna burn it out. You're gonna burn it out. I'm like, oh my god.
Not my car. Who cares?
Oh. So accidents.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in one accident.
Your glid accident?
Yeah, I had like maybe 50 feet. It was icy. Hit the brakes. Kept sliding, and then just, I hit the person, and it made like a tiny little puncture in their bumper, and she was wearing one of those like plastic things that holds your hair up.
The rain?
What's it called?
I was gonna say from the rain. No.
Like she had like it's like one of those scrunchy things, but it's like plastic. It has like little fingers on it.
Yeah.
And I remember like it hit her in the back of the head, and she was like, "That's what she was." Like everyone's like, "Oh, I'm so damaged," but she was like, just it didn't even deform it didn't break the plastic, so she was fine. But my car had like a sensor that set off the airbags, all made of gold or something, and then it was like, popped in my face. So the airbag inflates. It's supposed to just like
silicate or something weird.
Yeah. Well, whatever's in there is toxic. So like the airbag had a split right in the middle and just like right in my face. So I breathed that in, and that fucked me up for about a day. I was like jittery, and then the next car I drove in was also terrible in the snow. So I was like, I couldn't make sure that it stopped. It fucks you up.
For the record, all cars aren't great in the snow, but whatever.
Yeah, well, I guess the next car was a Toyota Camry that I was driving around, and that was like super light, and it was worse than the car that I had previously.
I think they're front wheel drive. Well, you're going from a Volvo.
Yeah, Volvo's made in Sweden, I think. So, the one thing I will say about, like, there were only like a couple times where I thought I was gonna actually die in that car, and the car probably would have saved me. And there was one time where they used to call it the Volvo, and so they're like, if you're just starting out driving, if somehow you're underage and you're listening to this podcast, don't trust other people at all. That's the best method of driving, is that other people are going to fuck it up in the worst way possible. So just plan for that.
Usually.
So one guy had his blinker on. I thought he was going to turn. He was easily going 40. I pulled out, and like just as I pulled out, he decided he wasn't going to turn. He had to slam on the brakes, and he came within inches of hitting directly into my driver's side door. Like, I was looking at the guy as he was like cursing me off, and I was looking at him like, you didn't even...
Like, your turn signal, pal.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility he had the turn signal on from earlier? And
he could have had it on like a mile ago.
For a mile. Right. Okay, you don't know.
Yeah. But he turned it off afterwards, so maybe he realized that, oh shit.
I bet he did.
Yeah. It probably would have been my fault, and I probably would have been injured severely. Let's put it that way. So I
was driving to a Perfect Circle concert in Scranton with Wang, our buddy.
Your dad gets the axe?
Yeah, this is that accent. So I'm driving the 92 Firebird, and it's stop and go traffic. One of those stupid things where everyone's doing 60, and then they do 10, and then they stop. They do 60, and they do 10 and stop. Well, the guy behind me must have been checking his phone, whatever. All I know is I went to stop, and I didn't even know I got hit. I just know there was a loud noise, and my car was in the other lane. I guess I got hit.
Yeah, you don't know what happened.
To the right.
I feel like that happens in most accidents.
I was driving, and I was like, "Oh my god, where? Oh!" I think I screamed, "Holy shit!" And I was just driving. Like in my head, I was moving 100 miles an hour because I was stopped. But really, anyway, I didn't hit anyone else. We were totally cool. I realized I got hit. I pulled over, and the guy came and he was like, "I'm so sorry. It's my fault." Whatever. Cops came. They checked everything out. My car was like totaled just because it just smushed.
Hits it in a weird spot, yeah.
Yeah, cars have those zones, you know what I mean? Even old cars, new cars. Newer cars have more of them because crumple zones end up being safer. Because all the kinetic energy from the crash is placed into the vehicle. So most of the crumpling takes away from the movement.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right.
It saves you from imminent danger.
Right. Costs you a lot of money. But anyway.
Yeah.
So the cop was like, "Can you drive this?" And we looked, and it just was like smushed, and I was like, "Yeah, fine." So we were there, and everybody left the scene, the cop, everyone else. So I went to drive, and I was like, damn it. My car is dragging on the back tire. Like, it got pushed into the tire. If I keep driving, it's going to pop my tire. I don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I called my daddy. And my daddy showed up. And he had an axe. And he didn't say anything. So the guy I was with, Wang, was like, hey, I'm Wang. I'm here. I'm your friend, son. And anyway, he, like, pushed Wang out of the way and grabbed his axe and just started whacking the back of the car. Just smashing the metal so that it was off the wheel. And eventually, like, after, like, 14 or 20 slams and, like, sweating, he was done. He was like, hey, I'm Nick's dad. He was like, ah! I was like, thank you, Dad. And I drove to the concert in that vehicle, I believe.
Huh.
No, my dad made me switch cars. He gave me his car. I forget, it was probably the Expedition, the green Expedition. Huh. Yeah. And I drove to and watched the concert. It was cool.
So my wife, girlfriend, whatever she was throughout time.
At the time.
Yeah. She there was one crazy accident that, so I was thinking about driving in a car that's been disabled. There was one crazy accident where she must have got hit by a pole that must have been like a piece of rebar or something, smashed her windshield. The windshield was like caved in and you could barely see out of it. Naturally,
did it actually break at her or just shattered? Or like, did
it shattered and came in about 3 inches. So it was like
it didn't hit her and cut her face.
No, it didn't do all that bad stuff. Good. Yeah. So one thing also, if you get in an accident, don't trust any tow truck driver. Tell them to tow it to your house, because the people that have a yard, they'll charge you like $1,000 to keep it for a couple days. That's called a spiff. The tow truck drivers get that money and they keep it, and you get reamed in the butthole area. So after knowing that from a previous accident, so her car was like, the windshield was completely smashed. It was like moving and vibrating as I drove. I was going to drive that about maybe 10 miles to my house. I was holding up the windshield as I was driving like 40 miles an hour, and I had my head out the window. I was like back and forth, and like I was just praying that it didn't cave all the way in, because if it did, it was going to cut me seriously. It was going to fuck me up if it came in. So I was just trying to like not get fucked up by it. But I made it home. And yeah. And that thing, I don't know what the hell hit her, but it made no sense at all. But it smashed the hell out of that windshield. And even like the supports for her car, like I don't know what you call the windshield supports. Those things were like dented in. Like there was like a golf ball deep indent on those things.
Something hit it.
Yeah.
Something heavy. Something hard.
Mm-hmm.
The only other one of note is I remember I used to drive a 94 Ford Econoline red van. They call it the rape van. It was just a maroon van.
How come I don't remember this?
It's a windowless van. It's for work.
My buddy had the white version.
No, mine was maroon red from 94. It was the most beat vehicle I've ever seen in my life. The seat was just shredded. So you would just sit on the orange stuff. It was stripped bare. One time I found a bottle of urine, water bottle filled with piss, in the back, but it was in the walls, like, because the metal was all exposed and everything. You could look out the back of the vehicle through the bottom. This vehicle was the most beat vehicle I've ever driven, but I came to love it. They called it the molester van. Didn't have back windows, didn't have side windows, had a sliding door, so you just used your mirrors.
It's a company car, right?
Yeah, 100%. So they gave me the shittiest ones. The heat actually didn't work.
Huh.
So in the winter, it would be like 8 degrees out.
Wearing a jacket.
Oh my god.
They must have been laughing at you.
It didn't. I loved it. You know what I mean? It made me hardy. It didn't have air conditioning either. I would sweat my balls off.
Yeah. Who would? Yeah.
But I did install my own CD player in there. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have one.
Was it from your previous car?
Yes, it was. It was the Firebird one.
Yeah.
Transposed it.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Gotta do what you gotta do. I remember this vividly because I would always have the windows down because it was no air conditioning. Driving up Germantown Avenue, someone coming the other way smashed my window. Just the rear view mirror, the one that you can change. You reach out your window and you do whatever with it.
So like they were too close to you? They
were too close to the middle.
Ah.
And I was too close to the middle. One of us was too close to the middle. hit it. Now, it was so loose that if I drove over 40 miles an hour, the wind would actually push it, so it was this way. That's another thing. Like, if you go over 40 mile an hour, like, it's like this, and then it would start to curve, like, towards the vehicle. It would be parallel with me. I was like, I can't see anything, so I have to push it up. If you did 60, you just had to hold it. If you're reaching it, you'd be like, all right, we're holding her. And there's no other way to see. Your two mirrors are very important because you don't have a rear view mirror because there's no window. When he hit that, I remember I screamed, fuck, and glass shattered all over my face. It hit every part of my vehicle. I had to pull over. I was bleeding from my hand, my face, like everywhere. And it didn't hurt terribly, but the fact that it shattered the mirror into like 1,000 pieces. I got a piece in the back. I'm finding mirrors all over the cardboard as I'm delivering for like a week. But it messed me up to the point now where if I drove up Germantown Avenue and I was doing whatever, I always skirt a little to the right.
Cognitive bias right there.
Yeah. And I'm the most confident driver in the world. I still am. But to this day, driving up Germantown Avenue, no matter what vehicle I'm driving, I will kind of skirt to the right. Anytime I'm near the middle, it has trolley lines in it. So it's like very bumpy, weird road. It's a terrible road. But yeah,
the glass
stays with me.
The glass shards are a unique thing. Like it's when I was holding up that windshield, I mean, and after I tried to clean out the car, glass shards are everywhere. You sit down on a glass shard and you know it immediately. It's like cutting into your butt. So like
they also are like sand where they stay with you, and it's not so painful. It's gonna break your
It's like fiberglass. You can feel it.
Yes.
Well, fiberglass is, I think, is made of glass too, right? So it's like
good point.
The glass is weird. Glass is a weird material.
Dixon, it's no good. So hold on, check this one. So I didn't get in an accident this time, but I'm gonna mention it on the podcast because I don't know if I ever did. I took a ride with a friend of a friend. We'll call him Chad.
Okay.
Chad was drunk, wasted. We got in the car with Chad. He drove around Delaware, back roads, which are one way this way, one way this way, and was passing people on the right and the left. And I was laughing. I was having a good old time. We were doing like 80 on roads that are 35. Like we may have hit triple digits, dude. I was having the time of my life. And it occurred to me somewhere midway that I was like, this is not a good idea. And I was like, dude, I just remembered. I made up some excuse. We got to go back and get some. And he was like, that's cool, dude. That's cool, dude. He dropped me off and I was fine. And to this day, it was a crazy ride. I love that ride. But I would not wish anyone else to do that ride. I would not. I don't know how often he does it. I don't know anything. But you get in these situations where that might happen. You might be offered that ride 1,000 times. You take it the wrong time and it's over, as is told by Vanilla Sky. Don't get in a car with a woman that tells you,
you effed me how many times that night? 3 times that night? 8
David.
times that night?
I don't know what
that means love forever or something.
Love, David. Just drive off the road. And that's the other thing about cars that I actually have stats on.
Oh, how deadly they can be. Weapons of mass destruction.
We talked about how awesome they are, how much character they have, how you remember everyone like, oh dude, he drives a blue pickup. Every time I think of it, it's his blue pickup. Well,
the death rates for people are like ridiculously high. Like cancer's like 30 or 40%, and like cars are like what, 18ish? I'm gonna guess percent.
I didn't have that number. What I have is 1.3 million people die a year.
That's a lot.
That runs up to 3287 a day. And that's die. Injured / maimed / disabled, you got 20 to 50 million a year. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Over half of them are people age 15 to 44. Makes sense. That's when you start driving, right? So the number of people per million is actually going down in deaths because our population is going up, but it's a little safer when we get in car accidents. Very little, but a little safer because of the materials, airbags, sensors, all that stuff that we were going to get into. Maybe seatbelts, different kinds of seatbelts, different kinds of airbags, side airbags, sensors, deployment, very technological stuff that's helping us survive. But in the first half of your life, age 1 to 44, car crash is the leading killer. Number 1 in the clubhouse, folks. You're not going to die of HIV, cancer, whatever, which makes sense. You're 1 to 44.
Okay, so I pulled up like odds of dying, and I don't know how it matches up, but odds of dying, you have heart disease, which is 1 in 6, cancer 1 in 7, chronic lower respiratory disease 1 in 27.
These are also related to number 1 killers in the U.S. I think.
These are.
You're going by.
Yep. I think it's U.S. I see a picture of the U.S. here.
Yeah.
And then suicide is 1 in 91, and then motor vehicle crash is 1 in 102.
Mm-hmm.
So this is lifetime odds of death for selected causes. So most of us are going to die of like 2 primary causes, and like accidents are 5, which is less than 1%, which I was way off with 18%. I'll say that.
Whatever, that's fine.
But I think it's like the surprising part is probably heart disease and cancer, chronic lower respiratory disease. Like those 3 things are top 3. You're not going to die of those when you're 18. But motor vehicle crash, that's probably a much higher percentage for people who are teenagers.
Age 1 to 44, car crash is number 1.
Nuts. What was do you know the percentage?
No, I didn't have an actual percentage.
Okay. It's okay. It's all right, Nick. It's all right.
You can bring your research to the table at this point. So I did want to touch on a couple more before we get out of vehicles and their stories. I feel like a vehicle has its own stories. Like I still remember a buddy of mine, Dan from college. Not this Dan, different Dan. He was like my best friend from college. He drove I don't remember what year it was, 02 Jeep Rubicon.
33% of deaths among 13 to 19-year-olds are because of car accidents.
Wow, 33? That's
a ridiculous amount.
It's insane. That's over 25%.
Yeah.
Next step is 50 almost.
Yeah, and that makes sense because the times that you are intoxicated and you manage to drive, while you're driving, you think maybe I'll be okay. I just need to make it to the spot, and then once you're done driving, you're just like, well, that was ridiculous. Like I don't think I want to do that again. Like that might have been a mistake.
You ever drove drunk? Not to put yourself in legal trouble here.
Yeah, I don't know what the statute of limitations is, but I'm aware of.
But I would wonder my kids wouldn't want to see this.
Yeah. That's Well, I think the one time I may have, I'm not going to consent to doing this, children, is that it's the point where things start to be warped in your own brain, where like things look like other things, and then that's the time to pull over. It's like I thought that was something and it wasn't, and it like the true reality of what I was seeing is not what I was actually perceiving.
Like a party, and on your way home you stopped or something, or I'm sorry, I'm
like
to figure it out.
Like you're seeing like cars but they look like something else, or like you see a red light and you just completely blank on it. You're like, oh, I didn't realize that was red. That's the scary shit. Like you go right through one and you're just like, that could have been really bad.
Yeah. That happens even if you're not drunk sometimes, and it's the scariest thing in the world.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You zone out and go through a red light and you're like, oh fuck, because it's too late. You already went through it. You literally survived death, and you're like,
yeah.
Okay.
I've done that maybe twice in my life, and one guy was like, he's swerving out of the way, and I was just like,
went through a stop sign.
I'm not gonna stop because I didn't hit anything, but holy shit.
You're already done. Right? Let's move on. Never again. Crap, I forgot where I was immediately going.
Odds.
I did. No. The only time I remember driving drunk was the Flyers beat the
only time you may have driven drunk.
I definitely didn't. But the Flyers beat a team, Montreal Canadiens. Do you remember Sandgate? Oh, we were talking about the series where
he scored on the breakaway and he nailed the goalie and then got up and scored.
Got up and scored. Anyway, I think it was at that game.
That was one of the best games I've ever seen. Not
anyway
in the stadium.
He also trucked the guy earlier in that shit.
Broke his
and just blew him up at the. Yeah. No. That was
something else.
Series.
Okay. Yeah, that was Boston. My bad.
I know. Right. Anyway, I was in the parking lot celebrating with guys because we won. I was at the series clincher, so it wasn't that game. I don't think. And in the parking lot, people were sharing raw alcohol. Everyone's having a good time. I fell asleep in my car. Woke up and I drove home. And I know I wasn't good to drive home. Probably. But
we don't consent that.
That's not good. We don't consent that. It was bad.
So raw alcohol is what? Grain alcohol?
No. Like just from a bottle. Like it wasn't a mixed drink. Like it was like either Jim Beam or someone had Jack Daniels or someone. It was a dark liquid, and I was sharing it with strangers, which
it's never a good idea. Yeah. So I was gonna segue into So your car runs on gasoline, right?
Yeah, not liquor. Do not put liquor in your car. Sand. Don't put sand in your car. I know you could, but it's not a good idea.
Ethanol?
Sure. Corn?
Yeah, corn oil.
Yeah.
Is actually grain alcohol.
Corn oil.
Grain alcohol. I guess that makes more sense now.
Like Everclear, kind of.
Yeah. Actually, you can actually. I think you can drink grain alcohol. It's like.
Yeah. Oh, you can. You can.
Yeah. But up to 10% legally allowed in the United States.
What is it?
So it actually is what's in your gasoline. So you might have actually been drinking what you were burning that night while you were driving. If it was stronger, which you said it was not.
So hold on. No, that wasn't. But I drank. The rumor was when I went to the university that if you drank grain alcohol, which was Everclear, you could go blind. Shot. You ever hear that rumor?
Yeah, I did. I got mono from some guy telling me to drink Everclear.
What did you do with him afterwards? Give you mono.
He had it on the rim of the drink. I guess he was giving it to everybody. It was one of those giant, like water, cool, like, yeah. He had a whole jug of it, and everyone drank it. So I'm pretty sure everyone got mono from that one guy just like passing around. Or it was from an ex-girlfriend.
Someone else.
Yeah.
Okay. But is that the substance that's in ethanol alcohol? Like when I pull up 87, 89, 92, like those numbers?
Today, the most common cause of blindness from drinking is methanol. Wood alcohol can damage the optic nerve and even kill you in high concentrations.
Any alcohol can kill you in high concentrations.
Don't drink methanol because it's gonna kill your optic nerve.
Weird.
Moonshine drinkers. Outbreaks of blindness.
Really?
Yeah, it's a real thing. That's a real thing.
Oh my god. I remember doing this at the Navy house. Like there was a house where the kids who all joined the Navy or whatever were in, and I was like getting horrible moonshine, telling them I wasn't afraid of it. Whew. Good thing. I didn't do that either.
Yeah.
That's wild. I didn't know that. So
I like how our car episode is mostly a drinking and
drinking.
It's a freedom episode. That's what it's called.
That is freedom. I mean, your car is freedom. Your car also becomes synonymous with you. Like I've had. So.
Did you ever make love in your car? Sweet, sweet love.
Oh my god! Hold on. I did it recently in my old vehicle, my two-seater Jeep. If anyone's ever been in a two-door Jeep, there's
spacious.
Not a lot of room in those.
It sounded like it was spacious.
And it was a stick shift. No, not a lot of room. Anyway, we were making love in a two-seater Jeep out front of our house to try and keep a low profile. And while we were doing it, we set off the alarm. The other thing is, see, you're not from the city, but car alarms become a lullaby.
Oh, it's like ambulance, police. No one gives a shit that someone's broken into their car.
But like, that was a part of my whole childhood, and because you're so close to so many people, they have so many vehicles. There's always a car alarm going off at all times. Here's another one. Do you remember the club?
I do remember the club.
So, do you know how good the club is?
It's probably awful.
So, growing up, my dad, he had to buy a new car every 2 years. He has a disease. It's called buy a new car every 2 years.
But
He loses money every time he does it, but this is his biggest vice. But I think it's cool. Yeah. Right. It's his passion. And it's never a new car. He just has to get a different vehicle every 2 years. So since I've known him and been born, he's had 30 or so vehicles.
Wow. 40. That's a lot.
Right. I'm also counting vehicles he tells me about. So really, since I was born, he's probably only had 20, but I'm only 30 something. I'm really, whew. Did you know we owned 4 conversion vans as a family? Like the vans where they have
extra stuff.
Seats. Hold on, yeah,
you can seats, spin them around,
and then you go to the back. You can spin the seats, and there's a TV in front of you, right? Yeah.
4.
And then there's 4. The red one, which was the fancy one that cost a lot of money. It literally had backup music.
I always wanted one of those. As you were backing up?
Yeah. What is that called? Julie something. It's going to bug me. Anyway, that was the backup music for the red van. The red van had a boomerang antenna. You could get
I remember those.
TV, spinny seats, open the doors. I could fit shit in the back for hockey. It was the coolest thing in the world. We would park it right out front of our house, right? Had an alarm and a club.
Yeah.
Don't you know that apparently if you have something nice, people are always looking at it?
Yeah, I'm going to steal it.
Broken into, stolen, and found a week later, like 2 blocks away, just totally stripped.
Oh, that burns, man.
I think they scrolled "haha fu" into it too. Like in some of the metal they left.
A bunch of jerks.
Anyway, they bought conversion vans after the fact, but cheaper ones. They had a blue one, a gray one, and a white one, and they for like 8 months.
They get shittier as you go.
Yeah, and they never were that good, but we would always put my hockey stuff in there. That's when I started playing roller hockey.
So that kind of hints at like the city versus suburb. So like the car made the suburb, right? Like the Transcontinental Highway, I think was like the first highway was the Lincoln Highway, which is like 1918 maybe.
You give me a year, I'm gonna just say yeah.
You're just gonna nod and go ahead with it.
Yeah.
But the like the true expansion was like I think 1956 when Eisenhower decided he was going to put money towards an interstate highway, like multiple ones.
Didn't we talk about how the money was? It was very shady. Not very shady, but shady in general.
I don't know about your shadiness here. We're gonna have to come back to that one.
The spots they used for the highway on ramps were usually poor neighborhoods.
They used eminent domain to take over poor areas?
Sort of. What it is if you picked a better neighborhood, like if you picked a super nice all-white suburb, and you said, we're going to put the interstate here, do you mind if we drop it down here? They had a lot of money to fight it. They would put it in courts. They would have all this stuff. All these people would show up. If you did it in inner city neighborhood, usually they didn't have enough money to fight it. They were like...
They got plowed over by it.
Eminent domain. Noise pollution, a little bit. I don't think you call it eminent domain unless like the president's doing it.
No, you could. I mean, for the good of the people, you could take over land that is for the betterment of the general populace.
Sure. Anyway, they did it.
So that was like post-war.
The city and the suburbs, right?
Yeah, because everyone had a car at that point. End of the war, they're starting putting down Levittowns. They have a highway system. Spread of the suburbs. So the question I want to ask you, city versus suburb, what's better? Do you want your car broken into saying, haha, fuck you, because you're surrounded by so many people, or do you want to be in the suburbs where you can keep it in your garage, keep it safe?
I definitely like suburbs more now because I can be away from more people. Like there's still people in our age group who've gone back to the city that have money. And the people with money are avoiding that situation we just discussed.
Gentrification.
There you go. They buy the nicer places in inner city, and
where they can lock their shit up.
These things and lock everything, and it's good on them, I guess. But it's not for me. I actually think I prefer honestly the drive. Like I love having a car. I love driving. My favorite transmission, manual transmission. I know we touched on it, but when I bought my '05 Mustang, I didn't know how to drive stick shift, but it was a stick shift car. My dad had to drive it home from the dealership because I didn't know how. And then I just started working on it. I would drive around the neighborhood, learn how to do first gear, second gear, stall out, do this. You know what I mean? I burned the shit out of that clutch. I'm sure I did. And it was a V6 Mustang. Don't think I was a badass. But it was cool. I learned on that car. And then my next vehicle had to be a stick shift because I loved it. So I bought the Jeep, the 2012 two-door Jeep. And that was stick shift. Loved it, man. You can feel a car's heartbeat when you're driving stick shift. You're going. I mean, you can decide between third and fourth. That's a big decision. It really depends on the road you're on. If you're going through some dips and some valleys, you gotta throw that bad boy in fourth. You know what's coming up. If you're coming up to a turn or something, throw her in third. You don't even have to use your brakes. You can actually save on brake pads driving stick. You
like hypermiling, you put the engine, you put the energy into the transmission rather. Yeah,
it's gonna slow down. It slows down a lot. Like you'd be like, whoa, okay. But again, you don't. If you have a manual transmission, you don't enjoy city driving.
Yeah, because you got to keep popping it up and popping it down.
Oh my god, you're in first gear sucks. First gear is not a driving gear; it's a pull out of stop gear. So if you're stopping and going a lot,
what's the mile like? Like after you hit like 10 miles an hour, you want to be out at first, right? Maybe 12.
Yeah, if you want to be out at like 7 miles an hour, you want to just drop it in a second. Just anything to just start. Technically, you can start in second if you're good. And your car's maybe rocking a tiny bit. You know what I mean? But anyway, like first gear is a wasted gear. It's just a pull out gear. So really, city and city life and city driving, I know. Is not it's not for driving. It's not beautiful. It's not fun. It's a duty. There's traffic. That's the other thing. I hate traffic. We just talked about cars all opposite and haven't even talked about traffic.
Yeah, in the city you're always stop and go, you lights and traffic, and it's thick with people, and people are probably the bane of my existence because most people are not smart. They're other 100%. Other people don't know how to do things properly. Road rage. We didn't talk about road rage at all. People doing idiotic things, cutting you off. I see people all the time cut across like 3 lanes to get over. It's just like you could just, wait and go to the next exit. You could be polite about it and realize that you made a mistake and just accept your mistake.
Road rage often comes down to 30 to 1 minute of extra time.
Yeah.
Or less time, or a head start of 30 seconds or 50 feet. Road rage often comes down to very, very, very small amount in car world. But it's perceived as bigger because as we're in our cars, which is our worlds, you just get this thing where you're like, son of a bitch. He thinks he's going to beat me to the red light? He's not going to beat me to the red light. I'm going to fuck his car up. I'm going to cut him up. I'm going to kill his family. You're like, whoa, that was just to get to a red light, dude.
What about tailgating? Do you, like, people on your tailgate, do you slam on the brakes sometimes? You pump them, probably. Do you ever just, like, full stop?
So there's a standard. I'd say I drive faster than 60% of the population, but not much faster. Like usually like 50 miles an hour. I'm almost never tailgated because if I do see someone tailgating me like a total mother, like I'm doing 42 and a 35, dude. You want to do 50? Like, do you want to do 50? I will literally pull over and let him go because I'm like, yo, go ahead, man. Do your thing. I don't want to cause this weird issue where he's tailing me and I'm pushing myself to go too fast, or I'm pushing myself to go slow on purpose to mess with him. Like, this is all not my zone. I try not to do that. On the other hand, if I'm trying to do 35 in a 35 or 38 in a 35 and you're doing 29, I'm tailgating you. I'll turn on my headlights. I will pass people.
High beams?
It's illegal to pass people. I don't do high beam, but I will pass someone. Like, I trick them. I get them because, like, I can tell that they're, like, slowing down to show me who's boss. They're like, whoa, pal, this isn't a rush. I'm going to slow down. Let's show this gentleman what real driving is. I'll do 25 and a 35. Perfect. I'm going to pass you where it's illegal to pass people to get away from you. Because you're dangerous. Yes, sir.
You're dangerous.
As long as I can see the road, I'll pass people. Yeah. Wherever the hell it is. And if they're slowing down to mess with me, then they just screwed themselves. I got you. See ya. Thanks. There's no use making them angry, making them drive weird, making me drive weird. Someone driving 8 miles and under is messing with the flow of traffic. We've discussed this before. I'm all about the greater good for the greater amount of cars. And my driving helps people. If you're going to screw with people and make them all drive worse, you're the problem, sir or ma'am. You follow me?
I do. There's certain people that they're not paying attention to the flow of traffic. They're not with other people. They're on their own. They're on their island. They're driving however they want to drive. No awareness whatsoever.
Even if we don't say they're dangerous, they're doing 25 and a 35, they're causing other people to be dangerous. Screw them. You should get a ticket for doing 10 under. You're making other people drive crazy. You're making people tailgate you. You're making, like, you know when there's like 9 cars in a row and you're all going real slow in a zone where you're ever, and everyone's
trying to figure out what's blocking the road.
Yeah, they're like, what's going on here? Everybody's driving a little haphazardly. That person caused that. We should kill them.
Theoretically, in hypotheticals. With language.
So let's move on to
a slow finger as you drive past them.
As you drive past them doing the exact speed limit. We know who it is.
Yeah.
I was just gonna finish up with top selling vehicles of 2017.
Sure.
You think you got a grasp on this in the United States?
I don't know. I currently have a Hyundai Sonata, which I think is probably up there.
It didn't make the list, but it's probably. I would imagine it's in the 15. I did. Yeah. Oh no, I did top 20.
Oh dang it! It's okay. It's
the
probably.
Elantra?
Oh, the Elantra. Hyundai Elantra. That's because it's cheap.
Yeah.
Fusion's also cheap.
Right. Oh, listen. Cheap is a reason.
Yeah.
It's right. It's not a good car necessarily. It's just the most bought. Highlander. Boom.
That's
GMC
actually
Sierra.
RAV4 is probably in there.
Keep on. We'll get there. Sentra. I want to go to the top 5 and see if you can guess. So I'm giving you the answers here.
Yep.
Sentra. Nissan Sentra. Grand Cherokee, number 15. Nissan Altima, 14.
Mm-hmm.
Ford Explorer, number 13. Is it Chevy Equinox?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. 12. Ford Escape, 11. The old Corolla, still chugging strong at 10. Honda Accord, number 9. Honda Civic, number 8. Boom! The Honda CR-V, number 7. Number 6, we got the Camry. Who's Camry? Toyota Camry.
Yeah.
5, Nissan Rogue, which is an ugly, stupid vehicle. My dad owned one for a while. He didn't like it. So I got top 4. You said one earlier. Number 4, RAV4. Okay, so I got 3 more. I didn't mention any of these vehicles. They're all the same kind of vehicle. You named one of them.
Are they trucks?
You name one, you name them all. You're on to something.
So it's an F-150.
That's number 1, baby. Number 1 sold vehicle in the United
Silverado.
States. Number 2, baby. Number 3. Come on, bring us home.
Oh shit! I don't know what the number.
Same class. Ford F-Series, Chevy Silverado, Dodge.
Oh, what the hell is the Dodge one? Ram. That's what it is.
Yeah, baby. We got them. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, nice. I'm surprised they're so high because truck people are dicks most of the time.
They are. I actually agree with that. And I think they sell more because it's like a work-related thing. A little bit work, a little bit fast.
Yeah, utility. And they get shipped off to Afghanistan where they could be used as launcher vehicles. You have seen like the guy who owned like he put his business on the side of the truck and his business foreclosed or something and then sold the truck. And there it is like on the news, like Bob's Plumbing is firing rockets out of the back of a Toyota. Awesome. Has his number right on the side. It's like, you're supposed to take the paint off of that.
Yeah. Come on, dude. I sold it to you. You got to change it. It makes me look bad. So, moving on, I just wanted to touch on last but not least, maybe, I think cars play a big part in our video games. Even we could do a whole episode of this. I'm just going with I have GTA, Driver, which doesn't get enough credit for what it is. Driver was awesome.
I always like getting in the trains in GTA, like the early one. You get on the train and just like the cops would do like, you big butt, you're driving along.
GTA 3 was revolutionary. I mean, you could get in your car, you can get out, you can start fights with cops. One level would occur. Like that happened in the earlier games, but not in 3D. You know what I mean? The other one's a top down, 2D. 3D
Garanga.
It was a whole new world. Yeah. Did you get into we talked about Burnout games? I know we did.
Oh, Burnout.
So good.
Oh, yeah. And then Need for Speed.
Yeah. Need for Speeds. They changed the whole.
Customize your whole car. I think that's what killed. Like, if I didn't play a Need for Speed game where I could customize everything, I would probably want to do that to my own car right now.
Hold on, we're talking about ultimate customization game, Gran Torino. Gran Turismo. Jesus Christ.
Turismo. You're thinking about
the movie. Yeah.
Clint Eastwood.
Yes.
But yeah, you could change everything, right? It's like you could make it like your idle speed different.
In Gran Turismo, yeah, you could change your gearing ratio and stuff. You could pick from 1,000 different kinds of tires you wanted on your vehicle. Insert different turbo rods and different gear shift ratios. I'd be like, I don't know what this is, but yeah, give me the racing one. Just wild stuff. But it taught me so much about rear drive cars, rear wheel versus front wheel.
So you probably you played some of these where it actually taught you how to drive. I feel like most of the women out there that don't know how to drive never played a video game.
It's because they haven't played video games.
Yeah. You never had to predict how the course is going to be and how the other people were going to like cut in your way. You needed to cut that corner perfect and then not get clipped by the driver behind you. It's like that sort of thing is pre-planning, and you're already like shifting gears to get into that position.
So if I'm driving my country back roads or whatever and no one's around, I do racing lines. Do you know what they are?
Was the most optimal line for keeping your speed?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and so if you're making a left turn, you go all the way to the right side of the road,
and then cut,
and then you cut right. And if you're making a left turn, you go right turn, you go all the way to the left side of the road because you're changing your angle. It's less acute of an angle.
Ah, yes, more obtuse.
Yes, that's true. Easier on the car, less turning, less braking. You do it faster.
Keep your speed.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. That's cool. I wouldn't do it all the time, especially not city driving. But lastly, I wanted to touch on my look tonight. I was going with a mechanic look.
Ah, mechanic look.
Mechanics are important people, right? Hey, I'm a mechanic. Look what I drive. A deer. Is that deer? It says deer, right?
Mm-hmm. Deep.
But mechanics all wear these, right? I think so.
I don't know if mechanics wear that at all. I don't know. I don't hang out with my mechanic as he's working on my car. They don't really let you back there.
There's a really popular meme. LeBron mechanic. You ever seen that one?
No.
It's LeBron James with a fake cigarette in his mouth and that dude, like the thing over his head. And it says,
that'll be $400.
Drawbridge, something like that. It's like Drawbridge, Summer Ridge, I don't care. I'm going to score a damn touchdown. I don't know. I forget. LeBron meme. LeBron mechanic meme is probably pretty good. There's dozens of them at this point. But we don't talk enough about mechanics. Do you got a mechanic in your family?
No, actually.
That's so weird. You're like the only one in the world.
Really? Could be the spark plug. Could be the spark plug. Could be the alternator. But I could probably fix it for $200. He does look.
He has a cigarette.
Yeah.
There's like a dozen. There's dozens of these that they made, but that's literally the first one they made. I remember that one.
My man.
Could be a alternator. Could be a sulfurnator. Could be a barbonator. But anyway, I'm gonna have $200. I got fixed.
Huh. Good. Yeah, I don't have mechanics in my family.
That's
usually,
weird. Most families do.
My my dad and my papa were both I would say handymen, so they know how to do that sort of stuff. But they're not.
So here's where we'll end this one. What's the you ever change your oil in a car ever?
I've done it once, and I don't want to ever do it again.
I helped my dad. I didn't do it on my vehicle alone. I had my daddy help me.
I changed my transmission fluid.
Oh, okay.
It's the same as oil if you want to do it this fucked up way.
You drain it out the bottom and just put a new one in the top?
You drain it through the radiator if the radiator comes out the bottom.
Oh, I never drained it. I've added transmission fluid when it was low, but I never changed it. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't recommend it. It's just annoying. Let your mechanic handle it for $200.
You ever had to change a tire?
I have tried, but when they put like the bolts on there,
you're like, these sons of bitches are in way too tight.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting it jacked up in our part. I've done it once. Here's a crazy one. So me and my sister would drive to Delaware in her Mustang. It was just like a 94 Mustang or 96 Mustang, bright red. She busted her head gasket or something like that, so it would just overheat and drip. Like it was in bad shape. We had to make it back from Delaware.
Keep pouring oil in.
10 o'clock at night. Not oil. It's usually antifreeze or water. So we would pull over every 20 minutes and just pour water in there until it cooled and wait. And then drive for another like 15, 20 minutes.
Sounds awful.
Do that and wait. Oh, dude, it was the worst in the world. But like, it's the kind of shit I live for. You know what I mean? And I'm not a mechanic. I talked to my mechanic brother-in-law. He's like, you can always just change your ball bearing joints up there and then clean up the shavings and then do a whatchamacallit. I'm like, yeah, I was thinking that, Jim, but yeah, you could do it, maybe. I'm like, I think you can do it. You know what I mean? It's just funny. But that's how it is, man. You gotta have a mechanic relative. And then they don't want to do anything for you because they mechanic all day. They're like, just you do it. I'll tell you how to do it. And you're like, could you do it? That's kind of how it goes. I can do small things for the car. I can fix minor issues, but I'm not trying to. I'm not looking to play with the tranny. You know what I'm saying?
Don't let me fuck it all up.
This guy, get his hands on a tranny, who knows what's going to happen, right?
Squirting grease all over the place.
So, to sum it up, we talked about every car made in America. We talked about all the gear ratios, transmissions, everything popular. We talked about how the Jeep Wrangler actually has the highest resale value of just about any car.
Does it really?
Number 3. It's number 3 or 4 on every list every year. You know why?
Because it
brings so this is a funny thing.
All the boys to the yard.
Wranglers, a little bit. Jeep Wranglers sell way more than they should. Every year they get voted by like Edmunds or
That's terrible.
Whoever. Oh, they're terrible. Bad with wind, horrible gas mileage, uncomfortable, don't have hardly any accoutrements. They suck. But they're also number 2, 3, or 4 on the resale value because you get like more than you even bought it for because you can't get a Jeep anywhere else.
Yeah, because all the housewives have them.
I don't think so, sir.
All the ones in my neighborhood do.
Do they?
Yeah.
You got them lifted?
Yeah.
God damn those women.
Yeah, Texas women, baby.
God damn, I wish I had a lift or anything. You know how much a lift kit costs?
No, I have no idea.
You buy a Jeep, brand new, out the front door, 30 grand, right? 27 and a half, somewhere in there, right?
Add the lift?
You want a lift kit? 10. Then you want tires because they're bigger? Oh, let's add 5 to 8. And then you want a cool bumper because you gotta carry the extra heavy tire on the back because you want the 5th tire. It's like 6 because you're getting front and back, made of real steel, real heavy. So you just spent $20,000 on
That's ridiculous.
extras on a $30,000 vehicle, and I want that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I want that too.
You can't afford it. It's ridiculous. And I'm getting 15 to 20 miles per gallon. What are they getting? 8?
Much less.
Good Lord. Good heavens. Really mad at those housewives. Anyway, folks, we covered every type of vehicle they make, every type of vehicle they could make. We talked about future vehicles, like space vehicles, self-driving tubes.
We did. Yeah, we did, didn't we?
I thought we did.
Tesla.
The pizza delivery guy showed up
there.
dead. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Tesla. Hey, we were about to get Tesla.
Yeah, we were close. We were real close. Musk no longer can be a chairman.
Musk. I think that's just about everything, right?
Yeah, I think you did a pretty good job there.
I think we both did. Thanks for your help, Dan.
Oh, you're welcome.
I couldn't have done this episode without you. I'd have just been talking to myself.
Yeah.
Well, folks, tune in next week when we talk about carburetors for now. Transmission, carburetor.
Oh, yeah. Serpentine belts.
Pad. We're going to get some rotors. Ooh, serpentine belt. Oh. I had a water pump.
Oh, yes.
Timing belt in my Lexus. I drove a Lexus for a while.
Yeah, I wasn't even thirsty. Who needs that?
Mm-hmm. Real quick for the podcast, I stood up in my Pontiac Firebird and pissed into a jagged water bottle one time. That was crazy.
Jagged? You mean the tip was on a jagged portion of the water bottle?
The water bottle was too small at the top, so I needed to open it. So we were in 5-mile-an-hour traffic where you don't get to stop. You're still going and there's no shoulder. So I jabbed the bottle with a pen over and over. I get the pen through the whole bottle. This is a water bottle, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did it 40 times, 50 times. I really got to pee. I'm just jamming this thing. Eventually, I hit so many holes in it that I could pull it off.
Oh, wow.
It had all these sharp, tiny points
all
over it. And the Firebird seats are low. You're like down on the ground like this. So I had to do this while keeping my foot on the gas, but just enough. And I peed into a jagged water bottle. And
so why did there's
no shoulder, and it was stopping.
The urethra is smaller than the hole, right? You could have just plugged it, or use like the balloon, water balloon. You just wrap it around the tip.
I was circumcised.
Just a little zip tie, and you're good.
Zip tie it around. Folks, we love you. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
We like you
quite a bit.
A lot.
Yeah, I would say so.
Thanks for tuning in, guy. Catch us next time.